This morning, I sat on my porch watching the fog slowly lift off the tree lines, and it suddenly hit me, I am 80 years old. In the quiet rooms of this house, silence is no longer just an absence of sound, it has become a library of echoes. Over 8 decades, I've watched the world reshape itself, but more importantly, I've watched the people leave. Parents, siblings, my oldest friends. And the one person I truly believed would be holding my hand until my very last breath. They are all gone now. When you reach this age, you become a ghost in a world that belongs to the young. I see them rushing, worrying over things that, from where I'm standing, look like mere grains of sand. They ask me, what is it like, or they look at me with sincere pity. As if being the last one standing is some great tragedy. But there is a secret to being 80 that no one tells you until you arrive here. When everything and everyone is stripped away, what remains isn't just nothingness. It is the truth. If you are younger than me, listen closely. If you are my age, take a seat next to me. Today, I want to tell you about the things that never leave. The things that stay in the house when it falls silent and the phone stops ringing. This is what is truly eternal. The first thing I learned is that we never really owned anything or anyone. In my 40s and 50s, I thought my life was defined by what I had built. My career, my home, my reputation. I guarded those things, believing they were permanent. But at 80, I look at my hands and realize they are empty, and that is as it should be. I've watched the houses I lived in be sold. I've watched my professional legacy be forgotten by people who weren't even born when I retired. What remains isn't the trophy on the shelf. It's the character you forged while trying to win it. I realize now that the people we love are just on loan to us. We do not own our spouses or our children. We are merely temporary stewards of their time. When you stop trying to possess people and start just experiencing them, the grief of their departure changes. It turns from a feeling of being robbed into a deep sense of gratitude for the loan. What remains is the love you gave, the only thing that doesn't rot. Or get sold at an estate sale after you're gone. When you're young, you wait for the big moments. The wedding, the promotion, the grand vacation. You spend your life staring at the horizon. But I've realized that life isn't made of the mountain peaks. It's made of the walk between them. If I could go back, I wouldn't seek more success. I would seek more noticing. I would linger longer over a simple cup of coffee. I would listen to the birds with more intent. What remains at the end of a long journey is a collection of tiny, beautiful nothings that turned out to be everything. One of the hardest parts of watching everyone leave is the solitude. We are a generation that was taught to stay busy, to always be running. But when the kids moved out and the friends passed on, I was left with a stranger. Myself. Most people spend their lives running away from themselves. They use noise, work, and crowds to drown out their own thoughts. But at 80, you can't run anymore. Your knees won't let you. So you sit. And in that sitting, I found a strength I didn't know I had. What remains is your internal fortress. If you haven't built a relationship with yourself, old age will be terrifying. But if you have, it becomes a sanctuary. I've learned that I am enough. I've learned to forgive the man I was at 25 and at 50. What remains is a quiet peace with the person in the mirror. You realize that you were your own best friend all along. You just didn't know it. People ask me if I have regrets. Of course I do. Only a fool or a liar says they don't. But at 80, there is a vast difference between regret and remorse. I regret the risks I didn't take. I regret the words of love I kept bottled up because of pride. But what remains, and what is most painful, is remorse for the times I wasn't kind. We spend so much energy trying to be right. We argue, we hold grudges, we protect our egos. But as I watch the names in my address book get crossed out one by one, I realize that being right is the loneliest victory in the world. What remains is the realization that kindness was always the correct answer, regardless of the argument. If you have someone to call today, call them. Not to settle a score, but to say, I'm glad you're here. Because one day they won't be. And the score won't matter at all. There is a strange grace in watching the world move on without you. I see the teenagers with their devices, their slang, their frantic energy. At first, it made me bitter. I felt like the world was leaving me behind. But then I realized, it's supposed to. What remains is the role of the witness. I am here to see the cycle continue. I see my grandson's eyes and I see my father's eyes staring back at me. I see that I am just one stitch in a very long tapestry. My job now isn't to lead the parade, but to cheer sincerely from the sidelines. There is immense freedom in letting go of the need to be important. What remains is the joy of seeing life renew itself, knowing that a part of my story is woven into theirs. So what remains when everyone has left? Gratitude. A fierce, heart-aching gratitude for the sheer impossibility of it all. That I got to be here. That I got to love. Even if I lost. That I got to see 29,200 sunrises. I'm 80, and I'm not afraid of the dark anymore. Because I've realized that the light never really goes away, it just moves to the next room. If you're listening to this, don't wait until you're 80 to find what remains. Look for it now. It's in the breath you just took. It's in the person sitting across from you. It's in the quiet of your own heart. Thank you for sitting with me on this porch for a while. If these words spoke to you, share them with someone you love. Subscribe to join us for more reflections on the journey of life. And please, leave a comment. Tell me, what is one thing you've learned to cherish as you've grown older? I read them all. It makes the house feel a little less quiet,